Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and today I'm going to attempt to do this to this. That's right, I am going to attempt to make a pump action Kronos, and I am going to attempt to extend the magazine into the lower tube. And I actually think it's going to be rather simple. So, let's do this thing. A number of people noted that in my chrono test of the Kronos, my stock numbers were very low, and they're right. And some people thought that it might have been my chronograph that was off, but I actually believe that my the stock one that I was using, of the two, I picked the one of them, and the other one I believe was a bit of a lemon and was getting poor performance. And I don't know why. I don't see any obvious flaws in either the spring or the plunger head. I thought maybe the O-ring was bad, but I don't see anything that would clearly indicate that. There may be, I don't know, a factory flaw somewhere in the AR or somewhere else. I will, of course, be K26ing it for this. I'm also going to be removing, hopefully removing the locks to allow me to re-prime it so that I can prime it multiple times and load multiple rounds into the barrel, which I think all I actually need to remove is that piece, and that will do it. So, what we are going to attempt to do is, obviously, make it pump grip, which is going to involve some PVC added on as a barrel. Going to make it as short as I can, because I don't want barrel drag, and it's definitely going to be a problem with a rival blaster that has hop-up. I may have to take the hop-up out, we will see. And for the lower section, I'm actually going to use a 12-round magazine. While tinkering at Out of Darts' free printing party yesterday, it was discovered that the whatever that thing is, the ball pusher in the magazine fits perfectly into the magazine here. Even the slot on it lines up perfectly. So hypothetically, if I take off the front of this and just attach it right there, I might have to add a little more spring or stretch the spring or something so that it will then push up into there. I think it'll actually be that simple to extend the magazine. We did discuss briefly trying to make it so that it would actually take a removable magazine, but then you'd have several balls that would never actually get fed and would fall out when you took the magazine out, and I didn't like that. I've heard of other people who do plan to try to make it take a magazine this way, which wouldn't have that problem, obviously. But I'm just going to make it so that it still feeds through the top. I hadn't taken that into consideration. This whole thing moves. The whole internal magazine slides. There won't be a problem as long as I can make it so that this can still slide. It doesn't slide at the same distance as the prime. Still don't know what that does. Looks to be some sort of a lock, and I'm taking it out. Okay. Taking of everything that is unnecessary. So, the goal is to attach this to here in such a way that it still feeds properly, which is going to be all kinds of interesting because it still needs to be able to slide forward and backward. And that is going to be the awkward part. But not, I feel, insurmountable. Dust! Bah! Dust! Gah! Dust! Absolve!
Ai, seu domine.
This is actually, indeed, easier than I was expecting. We're 2 hours in, and I pretty much just need paint, obviously. Few more screws for stability. The priming rods. We're going to be using this aluminum. So the priming rod's going to go here. It's going to go through that screw, and I'll probably have to add at least one more in order to get enough stability. I will also need to bend it a little bit to get it up over this lip. Drill 3 holes, get 3 in here, get at least... Oh yeah, we got lots of room there. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. We've got practically screw posts. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I need something at the end of the barrel that holds this in place, that this can slide through, because this does slide as you prime it, but not at the same rate as this. So this primes part way, and then this will prime as it goes the rest of the way. Then this will come forward, and it'll all come back in. But I need something that this slides in to keep it in line better.
I don't like waiting for paint to dry.
Alright, here is the firing demonstration of my Kronos shotgun. Alright, our goal here today is to hit a man-sized target at 50 feet. Because that is about what I would expect to be able to fire from this shotgun. So, let's see what happens. Not so much. Now firing 2 at once, I just want to be able to hit a man-sized target at 30 feet. So let's see what that does. Strangely, it seems to perform almost as good firing 2 as it was firing 1, which is handy. And there it is done. And I was finally able to solve the loose tube mag issue that was vexing me before. I created an L bracket just using the same aluminum flat stock that the priming bars are made out of. And then I acquired this bolt at Home Depot, which is beautifully exact same length as the barrel there. And then it's threaded into the end of the magazine here. So now when you prime it, that bolt is in fact holding it steady, holding it centered, keeps it from wobbling, and more importantly keeps it from going too far forward, which was the issue that I had before. This was getting pulled, was snagging on something that was getting pulled right off of the tube magazine, which was definitely not what I wanted to happen. So that solved that. Do still probably going to paint it because it's currently just raw stainless steel, but I kind of like it. I may leave it. I also still have not decided whether I want to paint the tube magazine. I was considering painting just half of it so I could still see the balls progressing when you loaded it, so maybe paint the lower half of it but keep the upper half clear so I can still see it on either side. I may just leave it clear altogether. Haven't decided. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll decide on that later. As you saw in the firing demonstration, the performance is still very, very subpar. It is still firing lower than stock, even though it has a K26. And while I expected the extended barrel to cause some, I wasn't expecting that much. Now this blaster did have issues directly out of the box. It was getting distinctly sub-stock performance when I first tested it. So clearly I got a factory flaw or a lemon of some sort. Haven't been able to figure out what in here is causing that, whether it's a bad O-ring, a bad seal, whether there's a crack inside it, or what have you. But I will need to pop it open and look for that and see if I can't figure out how to get this thing up to at least stock performance, because if it's going to have that heavy of a prime, I'd like it to have some power to it. So that will require some tinkering. Worst case scenario, I take the internals out of another one and put them into this one, because the tube magazine system is still completely removable from all of the actual firing mechanism, the plunger rod, the plunger tube, all of that, the barrel. So I could, in fact, take all of the functional guts out and put other ones in and see if that makes a difference. And I can, of course, replace parts one at a time until I figure out which part is causing the problem. Because that's how you do diagnostics, one part at a time, until you eliminate the flaw. So, there you have it. I am still very pleased with it, though. It's got good enough range for being a shotgun, but I would definitely like to get better out of a rival shotgun. I think it's going to be fun to eventually run this in something, just because it's neat. You can reload it as you go. It's got a good capacity, and it's just really pretty with these colors and the Deadpool stuff, so I am pleased with it. There was an interesting amount of controversy about this build. A lot of people thought it was the coolest thing ever and loved it and can't wait to see make one of their own or one of that, and then a lot of people were all but morally incensed that I would do this to a limited edition blaster. And I can understand that. For collectors, seeing something like this would be a bit annoying, but I'm not a collector. I like my things to be useful. It's kind of like I plan to do stuff with both my Crimson and Gear Up Recons, because as Recons, they're no good to me, but if I can turn them into Retalicons or put metal internals in them, they will then be useful, and I might actually run them in a war at some point. And so, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm gonna, this one was given to me. I've got another one coming because a fan wanted to send me one. I'm going to make one of them into a shotgun for him and send it right back out. Hopefully his will perform better than this one will, so I'll definitely be testing him when those ones come in and see if I get another lemon. But yeah, so however you feel about it, whether you think this is a horrible blasphemy and heresy and how dare I do this to something so beautiful, or whether you think this is super cool, that is entirely up to you. But I really like this build. I like how it came out, and I look forward to running it. So if you have any comments, concerns, questions, just want to scream heresy at me, you go right ahead in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching.